Hi, this is Jan Hibbard from Log Cabin for another session of my Workshop Wednesday series. Again, this is not the usual time I broadcast. Again, I'll go into that in a minute. Today I'm going to discuss sewing leather, the different methods I use. Of course, there are many methods and techniques to sew leather, rather, but I'm going to show you the techniques that I use. Hand sewing and with the machine I use. So I'll be showing that to you in a minute as well. But first I want to say, again, I usually don't broadcast at this time. I'm not dressed as nice as I normally am. But again, life for all of us, I'm sure, has changed in light of the situation around the world. And so therefore, broadcasting for me is going to be totally different, and my schedule is going to be in a total uproar. In the past, I spent most of my time marketing and working on my business, but now I'll be spending most of my time babysitting my grandchildren because they will be home, and so I don't get much done when they're around, especially because one's an infant, but a busy one. She's walking already, but she's not even 10 months old, so very busy, and so it has to be my internet, working on the problems, and I'm going to spend some more time tomorrow on the phone with my internet company. So anyways, this is about sewing leather. So there are many different methods. There's traditional methods, and again, I did not bring the tools over here. I'm not fully prepared for this because, again, I'm not usually doing this at this time of night. I usually have all day to prepare or all, morning. My hand sewing. Punch your holes with this. It's something called a fork punch, and I maybe I'll post that as my tool next week in my tool trivia. So maybe that's exactly what I'll do. So now I'm giving you the answer. It looks like a little fork, like a dinner fork. Punches 5 holes. My original fork punch. They come in different sizes, different widths, punch holes different distances apart. So again, I'll post those as my tool trivia tool next week. My original one is an Osborne tool, which is really my best one. It punches 5 holes and goes around, and then it is all hand sewn. So that's time consuming. The holes are small. Sometimes on something like this, it's very hard to line them up, and especially because of it's on a corner. You're sewing one piece is flat on the bottom, and then to this piece, which is facing up. So it's very time consuming. But again, that was for many years that was how I had to sew. I did have, and I'll have to post a picture of it because I can't take a video of it. An old Singer sewing machine, which is what I sewed with for many years. I bought it from a man who ran a leather factory, and so it was one of the older machines. It dates back to like the early 1900s, although the serial numbers and things were not on it anymore. I think it was put together from different parts of different machines. But in any event, I sewed with that for many years. But it had a wheel on it to pull the leather through. So that was, again, that's on an electric sewing machine. So maybe I'll talk about that in a little bit. But that was my first sewing machine. This is, again, lacing. And I still, again, do the hand sewing on certain things. They can't all be sewn by machine. Obviously, the machine makes it faster. And the hand lacing. Again, all the holes have to be punched. In this case, it's a fork that punches a round hole, basically. And then you have to line them up and go all the way around. And then this is called probably laced, or the biggest thing I ever laced. This was made in 1978, and the reason I remember that it is part of an independent study in art while I was in college, which is when I started doing leather work 42 years ago. And again, February was the anniversary of when I actually started doing it. So actually, it's 43 years now, because I started in 1977. So in any event, the lacing, and that holds up very well, as you can see. Corners in the horn and something like that. So that's a totally different process than what I do. Mine is more like a basic sewing machine. It's called the walking foot sewing machine. Except the difference is you can really control the speed at which it sews. Whereas a household sewing machine, it has a pedal, but it has a separate thing that you usually need to lift the foot here, and it's different down here than a regular sewing machine. The presser foot and things, how it walks the leather through. It has little teeth at the bottom, so it grips the leather and pulls it that can make marks on the leather too at times, but it's not because of thickness and the texture. It has to be able to pull it through. So that's what you use. I only have a couple of projects that I'm going to show today, only because, like I said, I'm really not prepared. So this is a little change or credit card holder. This will be a little notebook holder. A lot of these times are free gifts that I give away, several times. Then I will send a gift to them or offer them a discount and things like that. People will participate in the game. That's something I post on Facebook on Tuesdays, Tool Trivia Tuesday. In any event, so I'm going to show sewing these. So I am going to sit down in my chair here. Under the table. Under the table. There's a pedal. So see, instead of using my hand, most household sewing machine, you have something that you lift on the back of the machine. So that's a little different. Again, that's as close as I can get the camera to me. Because otherwise I don't have anything to rest it on. And again, so with my knee, I lift this up. With leather, again, you get it where you want. I also have this thing over here, which shows the distance where I want my stitches to be, how far from the edge to be. So this kind of lines it up. And as long as it's a regular sewing machine, we have the piece back here to put it up and down. So again, I want from. Okay, now again, with this one, see, I can go very slowly. Press this handle to go, and I should have a pair of scissors right here, which seems to be missing at the current time. So per usual, I'm not prepared here. So again, that's what's kind of nice about this machine, that you can sew very slowly, control it. Again, I have to stop at corners. This one, again, I'm just sewing straight across the edges, but on something like this, I have to stop to make the square corner to go around. On this, there we go. To go around on it, you have to have, you have to be able to stitch. The stitching groover is what I would use as a tool I showed a couple weeks ago in the tool trivia to line up where the stitches are going to go. So I scribe a light line. I'm not really, it doesn't have to indent too much, but it's just to show me where it should be. Because again, something like this, you can't use the thing I have here so much because it's in the middle. You're not on the edge of it. You're probably good on this one, but you couldn't. See, when I do these edges, a lot of times I'll cut, because I'm cutting the pieces by hand, I'll cut one piece a little bit bigger so I can make sure the edges line up perfectly and things like that, so they're trimmed after they're sewn, in which case I can't use that little thing on the side to get the right distance. So scribing the line with the stitching groover is how I get the stitches the right distance. Same thing on any of these. To hand sew, you use that stitching groover, which is my tool trivia tool last week, to make the stitching the right distance and to get them straight across the edge. So you mark them with that. Same thing with the lacing. To do the lacing, except again, it's the round there, the original one, and then the round one on the edges, and you line them up by scribing the line with the stitching rule. There's the scissors right there. I knew they were right here. So that's basically how this sewing machine works, and it's called a walking foot sewing machine. Like I said, it is designed for leather, but it's not all that different than a regular sewing machine, except for, like I said, the speed. The motor is separate. It's in most more industrial equipment. It's meant to be used all day, although I don't generally, even when I'm sewing things, I'll have like 15, 20 things to sew maybe, but the sewing goes very quickly. And usually sewing a lot of things, I have to sew one thing first. Like, for example, I have to sew the cover onto that piece of leather first. Then I have to glue the pockets in, which I use tape. I use double-sided tape now because it's neater to put along the edges and then attach it and line those up, and then I have to sew around the whole outside of the cover. And I always sew completely. Yes. because I think so you have to really look at what you do. So I have to. Sorry, that was my husband. We're having internet problems, so I think upstairs. I'm not sure why this is still working then. But any event, we're having internet problems. So I'm going to have to go deal with that because yeah, it's going haywire. It keeps kicking us off. Now, I'm not sure why I would have it down here because the main computer is upstairs and the internet and things. So I'm not sure what is going on here. But that's another issue and why my broadcasts and things like that have been way out of whack. I'm going to go into those briefly and then I'm going to wrap it up since my husband is asking for some help up there. In any event, I have 3 series that are supposed to be live each week. I'll tell you, I'm supposed to have a newsletter that comes out on Sunday that highlights the events for the week. I have not been able to publish what times I'm going live or anything like that just because it hasn't been working out when I plan. So obviously I'm not getting a lot of people on live because nobody knows when I'm going to do it. But if anybody does see this, I'd love a like. I'd love a share. Please comment what time you are watching it because I would love to know what time people can see this or are watching it because I really don't know otherwise. In any event, so I have on Sunday, I have a newsletter that comes out for everybody that's on my email. Monday, I have my Maker Monday series, which I talk about how I got started making a certain product line. So this whole month has been about the home decor. So again, last week I talked about the desk organizers and things like that. This week I was talking about the notepads. These are my own original designs and patterns that I made. I mean, I created the pattern myself. It wasn't my own design per se, I saw things like this, but I did create my own pattern. So the Maker Monday series, I talk about that. On Tuesday, I post Tool Trivia, which is on Facebook, which is a game where I post a tool. This week I showed the sewing machine because I was going to talk about it, so it usually ties into one of the other videos I'm making in the week. So this week I told you what I was going to post next week was the fork punches that you use to make the hand stitching holes. Sorry guys, it's night. I'm tired. I had to get up super early. I have to be to my daughter's house at 7 a.m. now to take care of my grandchildren. So that's earlier than I'm usually up and out of the house and dressed and all that kind of thing. I'm a lot of times up at that time, but I'm certainly not ready to go anywhere. And as you can see, I did not groom myself before I came on this evening. So in any event, that's the Tool Trivia is Tuesday on Facebook. Workshop Wednesday is this. I once a week again in my workshop talking about an aspect of how I make my products. It's not designed to be a lesson to teach anybody, but to just give them an idea of what goes into the process of how I make my items. On Thursday, I'm trying to post my blog, but again, that's not always been on schedule now because I've also had problems with my website. Sorry, I can't even speak anymore. My website. So that I was having issues with. It is secure once again. I was having issues with that. I was having issues even getting on from my, administrative end of it. So I think I've got that glitch fixed. And then Friday I have flashback from letterbox I had made for my mother. I haven't been able to find. I do. And then Spotlight Saturday is on Saturday piece because I really wasn't prepared for this. And I offer things for sale. So last week I offered all the letterboxes for sale. This week I had a special sale called the Shamrock Shuffle Sale, which was actually on St. Patrick's Day yesterday instead of on Saturday. So I highlighted some of my products from my new collection on Saturday. So again, the Spotlight Saturday is about products that are currently for sale. And sometimes I'm offering for sale and a special, you have to watch a video to find out how to purchase the items. So those have been going on. Again, Times Broadcasting, the computer has been giving us such, havoc here. So I really don't know because sometimes I can't broadcast on Facebook. Sometimes I get YouTube to work and Facebook will work. Sometimes neither one of them will work. Sometimes, I spent 5 hours talking to one person on the internet and problems with the computer the other day, and I spent a couple hours the next day, and obviously we're having glitches with it, so that's what my plan is for tomorrow. So in any event, that's about all I have to say for now. Again, this is Jan Hibbard from Log Cabin Leather, and this is part of my Workshop Wednesday series. Again, I will try to do my Spotlight Saturday live on Saturday, although I don't know what time. On that one, I should be able to do, just because I shouldn't be babysitting grandchildren on that day because their parents will be home. So that's about all I have to say for now. Again, I'd love any thumbs up. I'd love to know what time people are watching this so I can really figure out what time does work, because if nighttime is the better time to broadcast, then I will do that. But I'm not really sure what time zone. I'm in Eastern Standard Time. I'm in New Hampshire. So on the East Coast of USA. Staying home mostly, or going a mile and a half away to babysit grandchildren, but I'm not going far. So good luck to everybody with health issues, and stay healthy and stay home, and hope I see you again soon. So bye for now. Have a nice night.